Good morning. My name is Saquon Cannon, and I'm a sophomore here at Anacostia High School and part of the first class of the new Anacostia Public Safety Academy. I'm excited to learn about the police force and get a head start on being a police officer with the Metropolitan Police Department. My grandfather was a police officer here in D.C., so I already know the personal connection to the force. But I'm glad that I'll be able to learn a lot more about each MED department, go on important field trips, and gain internship experience. Right now, I'd like to be a member of the SWAT team and also interested in forensics. Thank you for coming to Anacostia High School today and seeing this new academy. I'm thrilled to introduce the Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Anacostia. I want to thank you, Principal Frazier, for your hospitality today and certainly for your leadership of these fantastic young men and young women. Let me also acknowledge the Chancellor of DC Public Schools, Kaya Henderson. Give her a big round of applause. And the Chief of Police, Peter Newsham. Give him a big round of applause. Let me also recall Kaya and I were together with the chief and a lot of great folks in a room just like this in Columbia Heights. I guess it was last year about this time, where we announced the opening of a new academy in DC Public Schools here at Anacostia. So I'm just real pleased that you all are joining us to celebrate this historic program that we're proud to launch here in the nation's capital. So two things that everyone should know that you know already, that DC Public Schools is the fastest improving urban school district in the country. And DC is proud to be and to have one of the best police forces in the entire United States. And that's because of amazing teachers, officers, staff, and the fantastic leadership that we have enjoyed at DC Public Schools and the Metropolitan Police Department. So let me thank all of the teachers, staff, and leaders of two great departments here in Washington, D.C. Give them a round of applause. So in the district, you also know that we are focused on recruiting and retaining future police officers and leaders. So that means tapping into the best and the brightest already here in D.C., and that includes our own students. Our city thrives when our public servants live in neighborhoods they serve and know the residents in those neighborhoods, and that's especially true of the police department. So that's why I'm excited about the opportunity that this program brings. The Anacostia Public Safety Academy will ensure that each year we're graduating young people with guaranteed admission into the MPD Cadet Program in our University of the District of Columbia's Community College. These cadets will earn a cadet salary right away of $30,000 and then graduate to a starting salary of more than $50,000 for police officers. And that, we know, is a pathway to the middle class in Washington, D.C. So as MPD works to recruit more officers, we will ensure that we are recruiting young people who can define what community policing is. And we will also ensure that they've received the world-class education that supports that continued growth. So I want to ask the Chancellor of Schools to come up and talk a little bit more about this exciting partnership and how we got here today. Kaya Henderson.
Thank you. Good morning. I am really, really excited to be here today. I think that this is unprecedented and groundbreaking work that we've been able to do. And as the mayor said a year ago, we said we were going to do this, and here we are a year later actually literally changing life opportunities for our young people. I am excited because I say all the time that I have the best job in the city. I only have the best job for 11 more days, but I'm going to ride this till the wheels fall off. But I have the best job because I'm doing a very difficult job, but I get to do it with the support of the entire city, right? We always say it takes a village to raise a child, and this city is committed to partnering with schools in ways that my superintendent friends don't experience. Yesterday in the Post, there was an article about the new Woodbridge Library. And what was featured, the library is spectacular, and Rich over at DCPL is my boy. But we were able to make it happen by employing our engineering and construction students in the development of the library. If we're going to build stuff in this town and we have students who are learning construction trades, why not make that happen? And I think this is another amazing example of that kind of integration around providing our young people with a good education and great pathways to the middle class at a time where cities are raging around the tensions between police and community. One, we're very lucky that we're not in some of the situations that other places are, and that's because we've had tremendous leadership at MPD, not just Chief Lanier. I say all the time, right? I'm just a cute girl who stands in front. I have an amazing team behind me, and they do all of the work. And I'm really pleased to see Chief Newsham step up because there are awesome people. Chief Lanier is amazing, but there are awesome people who've been making it work at MPD. And they've partnered with us and to help us think about how we employ our young people from our communities on our police force, in our forensics lab. This was a partnership between MPD, between DCPS, between UDC, who runs the Cadet Program, our local university, and between the Police Foundation, who put support and money and professional folks with us to design this program. And these young people are going to learn about law enforcement careers. They're going to learn about the wide breadth of law enforcement careers. They are going to go to the Joint Tactical Village thing. Have you ever been there? If you have not been there, it is super cool, right? They will get to see that and understand the breadth of different opportunities that are available. They'll be able to go to the forensic lab that Jennifer runs and is doing an amazing job at turning into one of the best in the country. And they'll see CSI in real life, right? Scientific engagement and inquiry towards solving real world problems. We at DCPS, our job is to prepare young people for college and for career. In fact, for college so that they can get a good career, right? At the end of the day, it's about jobs. And we figure we shouldn't start that after they finish college or whatever. We need to start that before they finish high school. And so we're going to give them coursework in criminology and law enforcement. We're going to take them on field trips to all of these places. We're going to give them paid internships. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for the Summer Youth Employment Program. We're going to give them paid internships in the field that they want to study. And those young people are going to grow up to be cadets like these fine folks and make $30,000 and then $50,000 and support families in this city. That's what this is all about. And I'm really proud that we get to do this. And so I'm going to take my seat because I could stand up here and talk to you for a really long time. But I just want to say thank you. It takes a city. And I really feel like DC Public Schools has the support of the city. The only way that we could be the fastest improving urban district is to have everybody working with us to provide our young people with the absolute best. And so I want to say thank you to the foundation. I want to say thank you to UDC. I want to say thank you to MPD. I want to say thank you to all of our law enforcement partners. We have the Coast Guard. We have lots of folks who are supporting us. And I want to say thank you for helping us to give our kids a world-class educational experience.
I want to thank the Chancellor for this wonderful program and these wonderful partnerships. She said to me once, that summer youth program, want to be part of that summer youth program, because we're going to use those jobs for internships and connect them to the learning that's happening at DCPS throughout the summer, and it's worked remarkably well. So let me turn now to talk to you about a few important pieces of legislation that it will help make DC safer and stronger all across the United States, all across the District of Columbia, I should say. Maybe the United States will follow our lead. That would be fine too. So I think you followed the story that last year a resident in Hillies was brutally attacked in her home. This attack certainly has been discussed throughout her neighborhood, and lessons learned from it will help us make our system safer. While her attacker was found and brought to justice during the course of the prosecution, we learned of a loophole that we seek to address today. As you may recall, the attacker, Antoine Pitt, was arrested by the police, prosecuted by the United States Attorney's Office, and convicted by a jury here in the D.C. Superior Court on 8 charges stemming from a brutal rape. During the prosecution of that case, we learned that at the time of attack, Mr. Pitt had been ordered to wear a GPS monitoring device at the time of the attack. So these monitoring devices are intended to supervise the conduct of a person who is on probation or parole, continuing to serve his sentence in the community, and to reduce any incentive they may have to violate the conditions of their release or to commit any new crime. And although Mr. Pitt tampered with his GPS monitoring device, the judge in that case told prosecutors that he didn't think that he could prosecute him for tampering with the monitoring device based on a 2014 D.C. Appellate Court case. Under that ruling, a parolee who cut off his CSOSA mandated GPS monitoring device could not be prosecuted because the appellate court said only the U.S. Parole Commission, this federal commission, had the authority to require a monitoring device, not CSOSA or any other agency. So recognizing this loophole in our laws, we worked with the United States Attorney's Office and MPD to clarify that our GPS monitoring program can be enforced by our judicial system. We were motivated by the concern that while electronic monitoring assists in providing the least restrictive alternative to incarceration, removal or tampering with the GPS devices puts our entire community at risk. Our legislation clarifies that tampering with a GPS monitoring device can be prosecuted, no matter which agency ordered the person to wear it. The bill will apply to monitoring devices ordered by any court, CSOSA, pretrial services, the United States Parole Commission, our Department of Youth and Rehabilitative Services, Court Social Services, our Department of Corrections, and any other custodial or supervision agency to which a person is committed or released. Enforcing our GPS monitoring program will make DC safer by ensuring we hold accountable those who do not meet the commitments of their release. Second piece of legislation is actually going to come in the form of 2 emergency bills that will help us recruit and retain Metropolitan Police officers. Before the council went on recess in July, I introduced 2 important pieces of legislation to help MPD recruit new cadets to the police academy and retain experienced veteran officers. The first, the Law Enforcement Career Opportunity Amendment Act of 2016 is really important, and one reason we wanted to announce it here. It will increase the maximum age of participants in the Police Academy Cadet Program from 21 years old to 25 years old. The program is an opportunity for young adults in DC to get on a pathway to a great career at MPD. It also furthers our goal of having DC residents take on these very important public safety jobs, like Saquon here. We hope that he's going to join us. The cadet program requires individuals to have graduated from a DC high school, and it covers their tuition costs at the University of the District of Columbia. The cadets are paid for their work while they're employed at MPD while they're going to the University of the District of Columbia. Once they complete their degree, their associate's degree at UDC, the cadets convert to career police status and begin their training to become a sworn police officer at the academy. Increasing the age of eligibility for cadets will increase our pool of DC residents who are seeking to join the police department and gain their pathway to the middle class right here in the district. The cadet program provides DC residents with access to these important employment opportunities, a college education, and experience in working in civilian positions at MPD while they're getting their training at UDC. This August, we're here today to celebrate the Police Academy, but also the Public Safety Academy at Anacostia High School. So we are very excited about these great opportunities. The next piece of emergency legislation that we're asking the council to move is the Senior Law Enforcement Amendment Act of 2016. It will assist MPD in retaining experienced, highly qualified sergeants and detectives who would have otherwise retired and been rehired by somebody else, some other jurisdiction, taking advantage of all of our investment in these officers, in these detectives and sergeants. So since 2010, MPD has been warning about the retirement bubble. I don't have to tell you. A lot of even our senior folks were hired, like Chief Newsham, in 91, and they are eligible to retire. So we really began to get hit by this retirement bubble in 2014. It's impacting us because more officers are retiring, but it's also very important for us to be able to not only hire new officers, but not to lose experience, and to be able to retain experienced officers who will help us to bring along new officers. So the Police Officer Retention Program is an education-based incentive program in the FY16 budget that allows members at either the beginning or end of their career to receive up to $12,500 to repay education loans or to help pay for college. So that has been very important so far. But over the last 12 months, MPD has hired 68 civilians to replace a sworn member in a role that does not require police powers. The city benefits by having officers performing police work and handing off administrative tasks or other tasks like they are doing now at our crime lab. And I see Dr. Smith here, and she has been very effective in using those civilian positions to hire police officers who would have otherwise retired. And we also have been very focused on making sure that we're using civilians instead of officers in things like traffic control operations. We've been able to hire civilians to take care of that. So now I'm going to just ask Chief Newsham to come up and talk a little bit about what this retention program will do for the district.
First, I want to say, and Kaya did an excellent job, the Chancellor did an excellent job of saying how exciting this is for us to have these young folks. You look at these young folks behind me, and if you see on either side of them, we have Anacostia High School graduates who are currently senior police, very well-regarded police people that work for the Metropolitan Police Department right now. We have an ERT officer to my right, Officer McLaughlin, and our gun recovery unit, which is run by Lieutenant Reggie Powell on my left. So let's give them a hand. And we're very hopeful that the five folks that are standing behind me in the cadet uniforms will be serving in either one of these roles or one of the roles that we have on MPD in the very near future. With regards to the retention program, the mayor mentioned this. It's really important for us at this point in time to retain the veteran folks that we have in investigations and first-line supervisor levels right now, because we're hiring a lot of young people, and you need that experience to be able to pass that along to the young folks. In policing, as you know, folks become eligible to retire after about 25 years. But I've served on the police department for almost 27 years, and I know I look old, but I got a lot of gas left in the tank. And so there's a lot of gas left in the tank for a lot of these detectives and these sergeants, and actually they really, really want to do it. So you talk about vision, the mayor's vision for a better city. This program with the cadets that we've been able to accomplish with the mayor, with the schools, with the police foundation, and with UDC is our future. Somebody saw that idea, you know what I mean? It was, you said, a year ago, and here we are. So it wasn't just an idea, but it turned into a reality. And the second thing is that there's the forethought to know that because we are so young as an agency, that we need our veteran folks to to stick around and work with us and to train the young people that are coming on. And so that vision has become a reality. So on behalf of the Metropolitan Police Department, I want to thank the schools, the Chancellor. I want to obviously thank the Mayor for making a vision become a reality. So thank you.
Okay, so I know I've talked for a long time, but I have one more update, and then we'll take your questions. I want to just brief you on updated protocols for our body-worn camera program in the district. So following a officer-involved shooting this past weekend, we learned that one of our officers failed to turn on his body-worn camera before beginning pursuit. In this incident, his body-worn camera did not begin recording until after his weapon was discharged. This is clearly not the intent of MPD policies or our body-worn camera program. And as a result, we have immediately implemented procedures to ensure that body-worn cameras are being activated properly and as intended by the body-worn camera protocol. As of last night, in coordination with Director Karima Holmes at the Office of Unified Communications, or our 911 Center, dispatchers began reminding officers to turn on their body-worn cameras when they are dispatched to calls for service. Our body-worn camera program policy is also being updated to require BWC-equipped officers to acknowledge over the radio that they have activated their body-worn camera when responding to a call for service or having a citizen interaction. The policy will be completed by the end of this week and will be read at all roll calls. The reminder on body-worn camera activation will also be included in tonight and tomorrow's dispatch newsletter that is emailed to all officers. And the training procedures at the Tactical Village will be modified to include the new protocol for body-worn camera activation in the live scenario trainings. This will be completed in 30 days. We are monitoring our body-worn camera program closely and ensuring that officers have the training and support necessary to successfully implement the program. Okay, so with that, I will answer any questions. Yes, Sam.
How many police, what percentage of the force has them on, actually wears them?
Sure, I'm going to invite Peter Newsham and Deputy Mayor Kevin Donahue to come up to help me answer the specific questions. I think you know that it's our intent that all patrol officers have body-worn cameras. I think we ordered 2,500. We've procured 2,500 cameras. As part of the implementation and rollout, we agreed to a 6-month study where half of the body cameras would be implemented as a control group and the other half would not. We will complete that study period, and by the end of the year, all of the 2,500 cameras will be deployed to patrol officers. You want to add anything, Kevin? Yep.
Right now, because I heard a question with regards to the number of cameras we have, we're almost at 1,300 cameras that have been deployed. Like the mayor indicated, we do need a control group of officers to study the effectiveness of the body-worn camera. So you need a group of officers that doesn't have cameras, so you can compare it against the group that does have cameras, and you can see the differences. So we have a group of folks that are looking at that very carefully, getting the stats together, and we have the intention of having all of our patrol officers to have the cameras as soon as possible. I'm not aware, and I have some familiarity with what's going on in other jurisdictions across the country. I'm not aware of a department of this size that has undertook this type of rollout of technology and has done it as quickly and as effectively as the Metropolitan Police Department has.
wear cameras, but obviously some of them don't have them. I mean, they turn the cameras on, but some of them don't have them to turn on.
Well, that's correct. And that was always the case. And then I think by the end of the year, we will have all of our 2,500 deployed. Yes.
The fact that you made the decision to have these dispatchers do this, these dispatchers are now taking on one more task. To put it bluntly, it sounds like you're overreaching here, that you're telling officers on the street to do something that they should already know they have to do. It's almost like telling my cameraman here to turn it on when you walk in the room. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I wouldn't exactly compare it to your cameraman's duties because we have given the police officers a new tool. And we need to do everything that we can to make sure that that new tool is being deployed properly. So if it is a case of a reminder, that is something that we're going to do because there can be the case where people have been doing the same task for many years, in some cases lesser years, but they're used to doing it a certain way. We want to make sure that there's a reminder and a response back that can ensure that the tool is being used properly, then we absolutely want to do it. So to your earlier point, should the officers know to do that anyway? Yes. But if there's a reminder that we can provide, we're absolutely going to do that.
Can I ask Chief Newsham?
Sure.
Have you had officers Pete, who have been disciplined for not turning on their cameras, and what is that discipline?
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now. I can tell you over the last 30 days, this is off the top of my head, so the numbers I know they're close. We have had 55,000 activations of body-worn cameras, and so we have over 11,000 hours of footage. And during the course of those 30 days, we've identified 10 instances where an officer should have activated their body-worn camera and did not. And so in each of those instances, we are going to take a look at it to see if it was something that they should have done, and if they should have done it, then it will be corrected. So the answer to your question as to what type of discipline has been issued, I don't have that information in front of me.
But is there a discipline in place if they don't do it?
There's always a discipline for violating an order on the Metropolitan Police Department. We hold our officers very strictly accountable for the orders that we have.
Chief, while you're there, could you update us on the investigation into this shooting?
Can I say one other body-worn camera thing, because I don't know if it was mentioned here, is that we have also, and this is, I met with the chairman of the Fraternal Order of Police yesterday, and he made a suggestion that we implement the activation of the body-worn camera into our scenario-based training. And the Fraternal Order of Police has really embraced these body-worn cameras. They want to have them. They feel as though the members of the Metropolitan Police Department want their actions to be recorded. So that suggestion, our cooperation working together, they have actually already met with the commander over at our training division, and 100% we're going to do that. We're going to implement that into our scenario-based training. So the most difficult thing about the body-worn camera is to turn it on in an urgent situation. An undispatched situation. So this is going to train officers at every level of the agency because we have that tactical village over there. We're going to create a scenario for them and make sure they turn on their body-worn camera.
If I could jump to the mark quickly, in the incident with the motorcycle, Chief, when should that officer have turned on his camera?
I don't think it's appropriate to talk about a particular investigation at this time because, as you know, this is being looked at very seriously by the U.S. Attorney's Office right now. Public comments about a specific instance of a use of force, especially one in which somebody has lost their life, it's not appropriate. So we can't do that at that time. But the time will come when all of that information will be made available. And once the investigation phase is completed, we have no problem sharing that information.
Chief, can I just ask a technical question? What does it mean when you say turn the camera on? Is it a one-button thing? Do they have? What is it?
It is. It's a button. It's essentially a button you have to push to activate the camera. Yes, it is that simple.
Chief, what can you update us on as far as the investigation? Now, a second officer has been placed on leave.
Yeah, I think that was misreported, to be quite frank with you. 2 officers were placed on leave, and I was on the scene at the time of the incident. There were 2 officers placed on scene. I think it's been widely reported that a second officer was placed on leave sometime after the incident, but that's just not accurate.
And so is that protocol? I mean, I know it's protocol when an officer discharges the weapon if they're placed on leave. is it protocol that his partner also is placed on leave?
We have the ability to place people on to change leave statuses all the time. So we will look at the circumstances. It could be any number of things, and we have the ability to place people on, change their leave status.
May I ask
So
a
we have that
question?
authority.
If we're done with that, I'd like a question about the program itself, and it's also for you, Chief. You both referred to officers retiring. Are there any numbers on how fast the officers are leaving? Sometimes I get different numbers from the FOP. Give me a sense of, A, what is the staff situation with the force losing officers and numbers, and how many young people will be involved in this program? What kind of budget do you have, Mayor?
Sure. Let me.
We have a little over 3,700 officers right now, and we're continually hiring, and we're continually having folks that are leave because we're in a, as everyone has indicated, a retirement bubble. One of the things that folks don't see is that we have gained a lot of efficiencies on the Metropolitan Police Department, and that those efficiencies occur every single day. The mayor mentioned one today where we have civilian employees taking the positions of sworn officers, and we're putting those sworn officers back on the street. So officers that otherwise would have been in administrative roles are out in the street doing policing. So to the extent that we have shrunk a little bit, we haven't shrunk as much as folks might say. So, we have a very aggressive hiring posture going into the future to make sure that we maintain the staffing that we have right now. The other efficiency that I'll point to, it's been significant, is the technology that we've had. We've recently implemented a new Cobalt system, which has really saved our officers a lot of time in processing arrests and that kind of thing. And when you do that for an organization our size, it puts more officers on the street. So I don't want people to be running around and being nervous that the police department is getting too small because, in my opinion, we have sufficient officers to police this city.
And so how big is the Anacostia program in terms of how many students will be accepted and how many will ultimately get the $30,000?
Yeah, we have 61. Sorry. The program.
Job.
The program starts in the 10th grade, and 10th graders can elect to join the program. This year we have 61 10th graders who have elected to join the program, and we expect to hold on to as many of them through graduation. And we want as many young people as possible to take advantage of this program. There are no caps, right? If we see tremendous interest, we'll just keep on providing resources so that our young people can get to these kinds of careers.
Is drug testing a requirement to participate?
I don't think so.
Hey, while we're on recruitment, real quick question. I see them lining up here to be on the MPD. I'm curious, how hard is it to recruit outside? Do you have people lining up, or is it a challenge to find enough officers to apply?
Yeah, well, let me say something about that. We have a phenomenal police department. I think the last number I heard was they're getting about 10,000 applications a year, but they need to get more to get. And the chief will tell me, but for every hire we make, I think, how many applications do you go through?
Someone here, Ben, who could tell me.
4 out of. It takes a lot of applications to get to a person who we think that we are going to trust with a gun and a badge, and so that's very, very critical hire. So we continue to think about all the different ways that we can recruit, but we are also very focused on how we can recruit from Washington, D.C., and so that's part of what this program is. We want to make the cadet program a bigger program.
Can you clarify the senior police officer situation? Because it was quite a few months ago that I talked with the deputy mayor about this, and that it was an idea that had come up. Is it now in place, and are senior police officers coming back at that accelerated salary?
Yes, so we have.
What is the reason for the legislation then, if you're already doing it?
Because we were talking about officers, now we're talking about detectives and sergeants. So let me let Kevin clarify the difference.
The confusion might be there has been a senior police officer program in existence. It has focused on officers, and so when people retire, they can be hired back without losing their pension at a set salary to be officers. MPD, as it's reduced its size, is really needs to recruit back sergeants and detectives to do investigative work. So this allows them to pull people back, not just as officers, but as detectives, as sergeants, to help with investigations at a higher salary level than they would if they were coming back to be officers. So that flexibility of using the program for other ranks wasn't there in the past. We did introduce legislation. We are now, and I think it had support on council, we're now introducing an emergency form so we can move on this more expeditiously.
Deputy Mayor, maybe you're the one to get some clarification on the GPS. What is the law right now? Is it against the law right now for someone to tamper with or remove their GPS device?
Right now, if that GPS device was ordered by a court as a condition of supervision, it is against the law. An appeals court ruled a couple of years ago that when the GPS is put at the direction not of the courts but, say, of a supervision agency like CSOSA, that there's a gap in our law, how it's written. There's a gap in how our law is written that makes that much harder to prosecute. Now, let me give an example. So you can have someone who is released without GPS as part of their court order release. They may do something in the course of their supervision in which is part of a sanction for violating a condition of probation or parole that CSOSA wants to put a GPS device on. So then your GPS device wasn't ordered by the court. It was a sanction ordered by our supervision agency. And so that is, we're trying to have the law reflect the intent of what GPS is there for, to allow for a supervision agency who have chosen to put the GPS on in the course of supervision to be able to have the prosecutor hold them accountable and have it be a more effective behavioral tool.
So do you have numbers on that universe? How many are court ordered and how many are ordered by agencies other than the court?
I don't right now.
I hear a lot of things about procedure with or operations with the body cams. You got to turn them on for them to work, right? So that's operations. I'm curious, how are they changing policing? It's still in its infancy. You still have test groups not using them, test groups using them. How is it changing things?
Well, we can't say in any scientific way yet until until the study concludes, and we look forward to being able to speak about that. I will say this anecdotally, and after having a conversation with the chairman of our police complaints board, who views many more of these body cameras than probably any of us have. And they do see some changes in behavior from officers and from the public. As the chief said, the whole purpose of the body-worn camera is to provide accountability on both sides of the interaction. That's why it's so important for us to make sure they are being used in the way that they were intended, because it can corroborate both sides in the witness testimony, officer testimony. And so for us to have that is very important to investigations. But we're also hopeful about what we're going to find in the study about interactions between the public and the police. Thank you, everybody. And thanks to the cadets, and thanks to the students, and thanks to Anacostia High School.